Good evening, friends. It's Scott from Flat River Keto. If you're new to my channel, welcome. On my channel, you get to come along for the ride on my keto journey. I check in with you once a week to update you on my keto progress and try to check in with you at least one other time during the week. Usually to share something that I've discovered about the ketogenic lifestyle, but occasionally to share a little something that I've discovered about this journey that we call life. Well, today's not a check-in day, so it's one of those other days when I kind of wanted to share something with you that I've been thinking about a little bit lately, and that is I've been at this for almost 3 years. It'll be 3 years, ketogenic lifestyle in July of this year, July 21st. 2021 was when I started my keto journey, so it'll be 3 years in July. I've had my YouTube channel for not quite 2 years. It'll be 2 years in August. And I was thinking, I started out, obviously, my YouTube channel was very small, very humble in the beginning. Still quite small and humble, which is great. No problem at all, of course. But I was looking the other day, and I think I have 608 subscribers, which is really awesome. But I thought about the fact that I really haven't talked to you guys in a while about how I keto and what keto is for me, because keto is a pretty large term that encompasses a lot of different things. And obviously, feel free to binge my videos. You can watch everything from my story when I very first started, and I share my health journey with you, kind of my whole life. I talk a little bit about the struggles that I've had with my health and my weight throughout my life. That's in the very first video that I shared, our first or second video that I shared, I should say. My first video, I think, was an introduction for why I was doing what I was doing. But anyway, I used to share a lot more often, I think, kind of what I was doing from a keto perspective, how I keto, and haven't shared that in a while. So I'm sure that not every single one of you has gone back through and watched every single one of my videos. So I wanted to share with you how I keto, what I focus on, and the other thing I wanted to share with you is how Keto Chow fits into my keto diet. And you'll kind of see why I bring that up here as I talk to you about how I keto. For those of you who don't know, I got introduced to keto actually through carnivore. I went straight from the standard American diet to carnivore. A good friend of mine, Michael McCain, is a carnivore, and he's still a carnivore, and he introduced me to that lifestyle when he saw that I was really struggling trying to lose some weight and to get healthier. And I tried carnivore for a while, and it was fantastic for me. It was a great change from the standard American diet. But I found that long term it really wasn't very sustainable for me. I like to have a little bit of variety in my food, and that is something that low carb vegetables and other seasonings and a few things like that allow me to do. And they don't seem to impact me as far as when I consume low carb vegetables and that sort of thing. I don't seem to get a lot of inflammation. I feel pretty good. And so keto is something that after about a month of trying carnivore, keto is kind of what I landed on. And like I said, keto is a pretty big, broad term. And so I wanted to talk to you guys about how I keto. What I landed on was really meat-heavy keto. I focus each of my meals on eating meat, different kinds of meat, of course. I eat beef, I eat chicken, I eat pork, I eat venison, I eat elk. I eat wild turkey. I told you guys about turkey hunting just a couple of weeks ago. But, I eat all different kinds of meat, but I focus my meals on the meat. And then around that, I will have some low-carb vegetables, or I will... The best way to describe it is almost season my meat with my vegetables, and that's not, of course, technically correct. My wife, who teaches, among other things, a foods class at the high school, would probably smack me with a ruler or whatever, because of course vegetables are not seasoning. But that is how I keep a variety in what I eat, which I really enjoy. Guys, I love food. Obviously, I loved food enough to be almost 500 pounds at one point. I am now probably somewhere between 300 and 330. I would like to get back under 300 pounds. I know I'm above it. I haven't been on the scale in a while. That's a discussion for another day. But I need to get back on the scale because I need to get myself a benchmark for where I am, and then I can kind of work on where I want to go. But anyway, sorry, I digress. But what I wanted to talk about is, as far as how I keto is that I focus on my meals, on my meat, and then I enjoy food. I love food, and so the low carb vegetables that I add to that, and the cheese, that sort of thing that I add, which I also do, is what gives me variety in my food, and that's what works for me. Obviously, guys, I've been doing this for almost 3 years. I have lost probably somewhere between 150 and 175 pounds. I'm getting close to, I'm probably closer to 150 than 175 at the moment, like I mentioned. But when I do that, when I focus on eating meat and I sprinkle in a little bit of vegetables, I am very successful. When I don't snack, I'm very successful. So what works for me is 2 meals a day. I get up in the morning. I don't eat. I'm not even hungry anymore. I eat around noon, and then I have an eating window where I end up eating usually 2 meals, and sometimes with a keto chow, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. Between noon and about 6. And about 6 is when I want to quit eating for the day. And that, when I do that, that works really good for me. And that has allowed me to feel much healthier, feel much better. I've been able to go out and do things. I've talked to you guys in the past about how I went from being able to do nothing to, I love going out and walking and hiking and being outside with my family. I rediscovered my passion for hunting because I'm actually able to get out into nature and do that. So yeah, it's been great. And when I do those things, I'm very successful with my keto diet. When I snack, which is most often when I'm stressed out. For those of you who've been following along even somewhat recently, I'm a tax accountant. And so I do struggle somewhat during tax season. I have struggled the last couple of years during tax season. I am still definitely working on my emotional eating and on trying to find better ways to relieve my stress other than food. But when I succumb to those things, and add in the keto treats and I snack and graze, especially on things like nuts and seeds, that's when I don't have success. That's when I put when I've put some weight back on, had a little bit of inflammation, and I don't feel as good. So one question that a lot of people ask is, what do you measure? And the fact of the matter is, I don't measure. I know that when I focus on meat first, and eat till I'm comfortably full, and I eat those 2 meals a day with a possible keto chow in there, I lose weight. I lose fat. I just do. It's when I do those other things, when I get doing the keto treats too often, more than once in a great while. Keto treats for me need to be once in a great while. It needs to be on my birthday, on my anniversary, not once a week on Sundays, which is what has happened, what happened to me over this past tax season. It's certainly better than how I used to be on the standard American diet. But when I do those things, when I have those keto treats, once a week instead of once every few months, when I start snacking, that is when I don't have success. And so, but coming back around to it, sorry, getting off on several tangents today. I don't track my food when I do what I should be doing, which is focusing on meat and my meals, eating 2 meals a day, 2, possibly 3 meals within a short window of about 6 hours in a 24-hour period. When I do that, I lose fat, and I know that works for me. Does that work for everybody? Not necessarily, but it has always worked well for me. And I know that when I make that my focus, I have success. Now, the question then would become, how does Keto Chow, play into my keto lifestyle? And you guys know that Keto Chow is one of the few keto products that I use. And I use it on a regular basis. I will say that I do not use it. It is not like a slim fast for me. It is not a shake for breakfast, a shake for lunch, and that kind of. It's not that at all. And I think that Chris and Miriam Bear, the founders of Keto Chow, would probably tell you that they don't necessarily recommend that for somebody to eat. Keto chow is their main nutrition. Can you do it? Yes, Chris proved you could do it. He did 100 days of just keto chow to prove that it's a nutritionally complete meal. They talk about that. That's one of the things that's great about it. And each one of those keto chows is a third of your vitamins and minerals that you need for the day. So 3 of them obviously gives you all of that. But the preference in the keto lifestyle is to eat whole foods. And what is great about Keto Chow is that on a day when we don't have leftovers, on a day when I don't feel like cooking, that's when I can add Keto Chow. The other thing is I will have Keto Chow available. I usually take one to work and have it in the fridge. And depending on how much leftovers I had the night before, sometimes in the middle of the afternoon, I will get where I'm needing a little something more than what I had for my leftovers. And that's where Keto Chow works really good for me. The other way that Keto Chow works really good for me is sometimes when I'm really craving, if I'm finding myself that I'm craving something a little bit sweet after dinner, I will mix up a Keto Chow, what I call a Keto Chow milkshake. And that's basically just, rather than letting Keto Chow, making up a shake with a shaker bottle and letting it kind of sit overnight or for at least half a day, which is really the, normal way, I guess, that most people use it. I will throw it my usual quarter cup of heavy whipping cream into a blender with some ice and either some water, some almond milk, and then a serving of Keto Chow. And I have a little Ninja blender, and blend that up, and that's my milkshake. And that kind of, it does two things. It satisfies if I have a little bit of hunger after dinner, and then it also kind of satisfies that sweet tooth. So that's how I use Keto Chow as part of my keto diet. Like I said, for me, it is a wonderful tool to have in my tool bag. It is especially helpful on days when I don't feel like cooking, on days when I don't have leftovers, which does happen from time to time. I'll give you today as an example, actually. Had leftover, we had made sandwiches. And basically, we had made keto buns. There's a keto biscuit recipe that you make with cheese and almond flour and eggs, and that makes a bun. And we had just done, like sub sandwiches, like I had ham and turkey and Swiss cheese and mayonnaise. And if anybody were to actually look at my sandwich, it was hilarious because there were like a stack of meat like that thick on this little tiny bun. But I had that today for lunch. That was my first meal of the day. I had that. And usually I have two of those sandwiches. I actually was down to one bun today. And so I had it super thick, but I had one about 3:30 this afternoon. I had a Keto Chow shake. And then this evening for dinner, we had like Polish sausage type hot dogs. And I had a few of those and decided that I definitely wasn't going to do a bun, of course. I don't really usually do buns. I decided to just cut those up. And I put those in a pan with 4 eggs and some cheddar cheese and did a little hot sauce over the top, and that was my dinner. And that is what I'm eating for the whole day. Now, you will notice that that particular meal is not going to lend itself to any leftovers. So, not quite sure what I'm going to do tomorrow. I might end up having 2 Keto Chow shakes tomorrow, one for my lunch and maybe one in the middle of the afternoon. But, yeah, that's how I keto. That is how I've found that I have success when I do that. Along with getting some exercise, I feel good. I feel mentally clear, and I feel like I'm able to do all the things that I want to do. And the other thing is obviously you guys know I have some fat and weight that I still want to lose, and when I do those things, I am successful. And that is how, like I mentioned, I add Keto Chow into my keto lifestyle. It's not an everyday thing for me. I almost always have one in my fridge at work. I don't have it every day. During tax season, I think I rely on the Keto Chow a little bit more because I'm a little bit busier. I'm working a little bit later. And the convenience factor is nice. So, yeah, anyway, guys, that's how I keto. That's how I have success. And I think for those of you who might have watched earlier today, I shared with you in my short video that I was going to be talking to you about how I keto. This video was as much for me as it is for you, kind of a reminder to me. It's been a while since I've really sat down and talked to you about what works for me, and it caused me to kind of think through to myself what really works for me and how I have success. My ask for you guys, I guess, or my question to you, and you can drop this into the comments, would be, how do you keto? What works for you? Do you measure your food? Do you keep an eye on your macros? Do you check your ketones? How do you keto? And if you use Keto Chow, how do you incorporate Keto Chow into your keto lifestyle? Drop that into the comments and let me know. Day by day, keep calm and keto on, my friends. We'll check in with you again soon.